The
This
mute button
conference
already.
will now be recorded.
It could all go to a fund, and someone like a raffle for an HR head or something. All this wear money. That's funny. Anyway, so how is everybody?
I haven't got to play with my meter yet, but it's on there.
I just want to know if it's worth installing it.
Tommy? It's I would say you don't have what I've been looking at, especially for acrylics, and I've played with little acrylics very little. But then I go back and I think about like engraving on. Hey, wait a minute! Wait, I had a cat taking my cord away from me. Um, but like engraving on cherry. I've got a setting that I absolutely love that is massively dark. It looks amazing on cherry, and it was literally an air setting. And I cannot get it to replicate. I keep tweaking it, and that forced me to the thing of now that I have this, and all it is a number. So if I can
Yeah.
repeat that exact number, as I showed Brian, mine is in macron. What the heck is
It,
that word? Macron.
yeah, it's a metric unit
Yeah, it's a metric
of
unit,
pressure.
but it's
And
Oh, I
like
got you.
and
zero zero
and
zero
some of
zero.
those, yeah, some
But
of those meters you can switch it between metric and imperial, or use
the,
psi. Some of them you can't, but like you said, it doesn't really matter. It's just the
the
number you want to be able to write down
thing
because
is,
using that.
the
Yeah,
metric
go
is going to
ahead.
be more accurate than the PSI because it's taking it down further on
It's got
decimals,
a
so it's
higher
going to be more
resolution.
sensitive. Yeah,
Yeah, it's got a higher resolution. So go ahead,
but
Jim.
it's going to be repeatable. Let's say if I'm running at 2 or 3 PSI, technically, I can get that right back to that exact same level. And I have found a trick on it. If you're running air so stinking low that it doesn't even show up on the meter, take your finger and put it over top the nozzle
Hmm.
and let it build up, and then it'll level out, and then you can let your finger go, and then it tells you
Yeah,
exactly that's where the level you're at. Because
Okay.
like when you're trickling that air in there, it won't even show up even 4 decimals out.
yeah, yeah.
And because it's basically you got to be 4 decibels out on the that article needs to be rewritten, Brian.
What
It's
do you mean?
reorganized because it starts off with the meter with the
Hmm.
digital one, and then it jumps to the
Looks like an analog.
glycerin one, and then it sort of
Yeah.
jumps back into the analog or to the digital again.
Well,
Because
that was just under the fitting considerations. It's got its own little section.
I know, but it's even confusing when I looked at it, and I know exactly what was going on. When I looked at it with the fittings and stuff, it was sort of confusing.
Yeah.
I mean, on all seriousness, it was just sort of confusing for somebody that didn't have a perspective of what they already knew what was going on.
Right. Well, we can look at that. I mean, we're always, that's why there's a feedback thing at the bottom. And if you click not helpful, it'll open up a
Oh,
little window and you can
um,
type in a suggestion about it.
me
That's
bad.
how we improve these. Huh?
My bad. I didn't realize that was down there.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
either.
I
Yeah.
didn't really realize that. I never clicked on it to see if it was actually
Yeah. And if it is, then we know, yeah, we look at all those analytics and every one of those that, it actually creates a ticket when you do that and then we go address it. So, yeah,
Oh, and the
we rely on that.
adapters that I found for to tie in that meter,
Uh huh.
the ones that you looked at. Well, I was looking at some other ones that I got that I think are even better yet because it basically does makes a oh crap, they crimp into the wire so that you have a feed off of the wire, but then you can use
The
a male
taps.
connector, but then you can use
Yeah.
yeah, the tap, sorry, couldn't think of the word, but then you can use a male adapter to plug into that tap. So that way,
Yeah.
instead of the wires being stationary like the T one that you showed, this one here you can actually pull the wire back out because it's just a male plugging into that
Yeah, it's
tap.
got a male spade lug on it, and then it just
Yeah,
plugs into the
that's the one
tap
that
like
I
it
know.
would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that way you could
Yeah,
actually
because the ones
remove
I
it.
showed you were more of a semi-permanent one where you couldn't
Yeah,
disconnect it if you ever. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
the ones I
But
found as the sim or easily removable if you want to have to move it or change it or whatever,
yeah.
or if the unit went bad.
Yeah. So awesome. So let me.
There, I killed 4 minutes for you.
Yeah. Well, I've actually have something I was going to show you. I just got done with it. Uh, the usual suspects. Let me go over that real quick. Well, actually, It's in YouTube. I made a video, and I got to figure out where it is.
Hey, that's been a
I just
while.
published it.
You haven't
Yeah,
done a video in a while.
about the usual suspects, which are in the preparing for your 1 hour training. Let me get it pulled back up here.
Which nobody reads or does.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
where is it showing? Yeah, it's showing. So the usual suspects are scanning offsets, cleaning the optics, air assist, autofocus, and I just added use send or shift plus send because we've been getting a lot of things about that. So I'm throwing that closer into the front end. So anyway, I made a little video about that, but here's something else that we were going to talk about, and I've got it in the works, is the webinar while I'm on here. If I could spell, I did get a new keyboard, and it's helped my spelling considerably, but it's still not perfect.
How does a keyboard
Uh,
help your spelling?
because all the letters were worn off, and I look where I'm typing, and I couldn't tell
Oh,
what letter was which.
He hunts in
So,
text.
and I was just too cheap to get another one, and I had to pry the cap lock off of this one because I kept hitting it and yelling at people because I was always in uppercase.
we need to get Brian some sticky circles for his
That's
keyboard.
Yeah.
no, it's why
So
you just get one of these little silicone jobbies that sticks on your keyboard.
yeah, exactly. So I've got that webinar schedule or the public event schedule for Thunder Laser support stuff anyway in this webinar article. And you can click. Of course, today's not going to have a topic, but I'm starting to add topics. See, so you can click, and next week I want to try to start publishing this now and getting people because I saw posts about it today about Nova 51 deliveries and unboxing and 63 deliveries and unboxing, and see if we can get a few people in there that have done it. And we can just have you know, a little discussion. And then the next week, I
Hey,
did the
Kevin,
Nova
can you mute
35
your
and
mic? Sorry,
Nova
Brian.
24. And then I've
Okay.
gotten with let me turn that off. I've gotten with Enduramark, and they've gotten back with me, and I actually reached out to all of the marking compounds and told them that all their settings generally reflect the US type machines that are full servo motors and RF tubes, and they talk in percentage for speed and power, and that just doesn't equate to a DC tube, with a Ruida controller in it. So I told them that we'd like to test their product and come up with some best case speed and power settings for each wattage for our machine, and then we'd provide them with the results so they could publish them on their site. And I'm going to offer that to JDS, Johnson Plastics, Enduramark, Brilliance, Heaves, Ceramark, Laser Bond, all of them. I've hit them all. Not to get products, not to be an advocate for them and start pushing their stuff. That's not what I want. I want our information to be on their site if somebody buys that product, that they can go, oh, here's the settings for a Thunder laser that'll get me in the right spot, or any
That would help.
Chinese laser, because you
That
can't
would
use
help.
anything that's on there now.
Yeah, that would help a lot of those companies out.
Another
So
one would be those 2-color, 3-color sheets too, because they're very
yeah,
similar.
yeah, Romark, and we can start doing that. But I invited the Enduramark guy to come on one of these, and if I can get him on here to talk about marking compounds, I'll put that in the topic for whatever date he chooses. So y'all go back and start checking that thing, and as we add people, this is where it's going to show is in that public webinar.
Did you post the link to that?
The link is in the Facebook events. It shows it there. You
Oh,
can
okay.
search it in the portal. Just search for webinar in the portal, and it'll get you there. And there's a number of other places that it's posted as well.
And I noticed the other day that it's on the Thunder Laser USA Facebook page under events, not in the group pages.
Right, because technically that global group's not even ours. Tim Sizemore, I think, started that one as a private Thunder owner, and it became kind of like, I'm not gonna, the best one, the biggest, the best, the one that's visited most often, even over the one that China put up. And it says global, but there's a huge U.S. presence, North American presence in it.
Yeah, I never look underneath events, so I didn't even. You might want to in the U.S. one. actually pin a post to the top of it. Check our
Yeah.
events page for our current calendar because, in honesty, I don't even ever look at events at any of the page, any of the groups I
Yeah.
go to. I would
Well,
forget.
to be real honest, I don't know how many people even go to that Thunder Laser USA page. The only reason I post to it is because it's the official page, and it also lets me post to the global group and the China group all at the same time without having to do it
No.
3 times. But yeah, I can post something up there. That'd be fine.
Hello, Kathy. Earned a new face.
Hello. Oh, thank you. Old but new.
If you got any questions, pipe in because if not, the Yabber boxes over here will take over.
Sounds like you. Thank you for your help, Chris. Before I forget, we're still working out the details.
Cool. Cool. Yeah. Well, just let me know.
Yes, Chris and Grant, thank you both.
Forward to meeting you.
I'd like to hear more about clean power. I think Tommy was mentioning what's that all about.
You know what? If I could ever, well, I know he's on his way home. So my neighbor works for a very specialty electric company, or I call it electric company, but he builds transformers. He builds all the fancy power boxes and switches and things of that nature. If that makes sense to some of y'all.
Yeah, like switchgear and stuff.
Yes, he builds all that custom. So he's got a part that he's supposed to help me install to see if it makes life a little bit better.
Are you guys noticing anything odd going on to have to result to that?
No,
No,
Okay, I was gonna say because typically there's like my old CNC. It was very temperamental with noisy electric. But the laser, I have seen zero issues in any way, shape, or form with any kind of noise coming through
yeah,
the
it
lines.
can be doing its thing, and then the air compressor will kick on or whatever, and I've not had any problems. So
but we also aren't doing photographs and
yeah,
that type of intricate detail.
Yeah.
I mean, our engravings are detailed, but it's not like photographs. And I think that's where it would probably show itself as in photographs. Is that about correct, Brian?
I'd
Well,
say you'd have a real good chance of seeing it in that because every dot matters. It's like
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
There's a
I,
lot of times
I,
too a cheaper alternative is just making sure that your laser or anything is not on any circuit tied to anything else.
Oh, God,
yeah,
no.
I'd
I
be
No, I mean just like
interested
just
in.
in general because that can cause an issue for people that don't realize that. And I've even
I,
seen it to the point of two breakers being next to each other to actually being technical, getting in your panel, taking that breaker, flipping it to the other side of the bar, and
yeah,
moving the other one
getting it on
opposite
a
sides of
different
the
leg.
bars so
Hmm.
that way that the noise completely interrupts so that way there's not a make it layman's term burp in the line if anything else the high amperage decides to kick in.
no, I have what, three dedicated 20 amp circuits that only have one outlet on them each. And then I don't know what, two or three more 20 amp circuits that have 3 or 4 outlets on them.
yeah, but what are your phases in your panel? Typically, you've got two in a residential. So if everything is on the A phase, you could still have some crossover, and you've got a
Or you're
common
talking about the left
neutral.
versus the right side of the box.
Yeah,
L1 and L2.
yeah, and it could
Oh,
be the left can also be both phases because when you put in a double pole breaker to get 208, they're both
Yeah,
on the left. It's really you'll have
yeah,
to pull
it
everything out and
alternate.
see how the back plane I guess is, but
Yeah,
all those
they usually
phases tie
alternate.
in. Yeah, but
I'll give him,
if you've got a
I'll give
specialty
him the money
service,
back.
you could have three phases.
This is a whole separate 200 amp service just to
Yeah,
her shop. So
That there in
yeah,
itself, I can't really see you guys having a problem.
I can't either, but he's got it sitting on his shelf and wants to wire it in.
Now, if it's free and he's wiring it in, I'd
yeah. It's
sort
probably a
of a
120,
no-brainer.
120 transformer or something like that. Because I mean, you've also got DC power supplies.
Yeah, it's
You can
probably
just about
it
everything.
decouples. It probably decouples them, and it's got some MOVs, of course, and that kind of thing. and then some sort of filtration. You know, I mean,
It might be one
it's
of
a
those.
Talking to him is like talking to y'all.
yeah.
It's
This
I'd rather discuss physics than some of this stuff.
The main thing
If you
is
ever find out what the part is he's putting in, let me know because I'd be interested. I have I don't know, not exactly dirty power, but I've noticed I had a pretty high-end power outlet for my stereo system, and it monitored incoming voltage. And
Yep.
depending on whether it rained or not, I don't know if it's a ground issue or what, but I'd get up over 130 volts on a leg, and I don't think that's good for any kind of electronics to have power surging up and down like that. So I'm just curious, I don't think it'd be good for a laser board or a computer or anything. But if there's a
so
way to filter my shop power, that'd be great. Cleaner power or something that limits it from jumping up like that.
a lot of times if the power company sheds a lot of load, you can get some voltages floating up. Just
transient
depending on,
surges and
yeah, well, just
spikes and
if say an industrial plant down the road is going down, like for their a December down or whatever, and that's a huge kilowatt load, megawatt load, you may see your voltage go up depending on where you are being fed from. Just natural, fluctuations. But the biggest thing is like when those big compressors kick in, your AC unit, your refrigerator, your all that stuff just can put a heavy load on that 120 and drive
Microwave.
it down. Yeah, anything that's yeah, it's a dedicated circuit for those too. But I was trying to pull up the specs on MYJG 100 for what their power range was. They just list 115, very wide frequency input, but they don't say, plus or minus,
Don't they
to
have an
95
inline
to
scrubber?
130.
Don't they have an inline scrubber too
what the
that you can
thunder.
actually plug it? No, just in general that you can
For
actually plug
power
into
conditioner?
an outlet. That
Yeah.
you plug it into an outlet and then you plug your stuff. Yeah, use the right word, stuff,
Yeah, that's just a
into the
power
outlet, and all it does is just scrub it. Because this time of
Well,
year, I mean, you're gonna probably see more power fluctuations this time of year, especially in town, than you
let's
will
hit
any
on
other
that.
time of the
I've got
year.
an article.
Yeah, we've been
Let's talk
getting
about
brownouts and power blips, but a lot of
yeah.
places will
So
use a UPS because that's going to convert your dirty power to DC and then back again.
but
That
but it's
change.
not going to condition it really though, right? It's
well,
not going to
it
level
can
out the frequency.
if it's a dual conversion and it's the one where it's powering the source all the time, where there's no interruption at all. It's actually running off that DC source. The main load is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are fine. Those are the best, but those are also the highest priced, most labor intensive maintenance requirement, all of that. So I've got an article on that too, but since we were talking about line filters and surge protectors, that kind of stuff, this is not what you want for a surge protector. Number one, that was
It's a
rated for
power strip.
15 amps.
It's a power
Yeah.
strip's all it is.
Just because it's got two MOVs and a thermal breaker in it does not make it a surge protector. Now, this is something similar, and here's a new version that I found on Amazon, and I think I made that work. This is what we used to use in the copier industry, something similar. It's made for that. It is a 20 amp. You can also get a 15 amp version if you have the others, but this is way more than just that. And let me see if I can go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there we go. And it's a lot better. Now, this won't help. This will help spikes. If you're having brownouts, you're going to need something like a UPS
Yep.
to be able to condition that kind of thing because you can't get power from nowhere. And I think I've got. Let me go to the UPS one.
Don't this even become more relevant to if you have a whole house generator that you're trying to run in the middle of the process because do the new home house generators have already that built into them? I can't
They're
remember.
probably full sine wave rectifier. I mean, they're probably really good generators as far as running with electronics and stuff. The only thing I've seen generators in general have a problem with is if they have a low idle mode and you keep them in low idle mode and then you have something kick in,
Yeah.
that doesn't work real well with some high speed switching kind of things like high speed switching power supplies and big motors with loads on them either, but Chris probably knows more about that stuff, but here's the little article we have about the power supplies, and it goes over the uninterruptible ones, and it talks about the different ones and how they work. So, and 99% of the people don't do any of this stuff for the Thunders, but there are times when it's available, so we try to put it in there.
I think that's what we just had to get for our son's 3D printer.
Yeah, it is.
He lost several
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That
And I'll post
expensive?
this link
So
in the chat. Go ahead, Chris.
how big of a kilowatt or unit did you get for the 3D printer? Like desktop size?
Nope. Give me a second.
He's gonna look it up on Amazon real quick because that's
Okay.
where we ordered it from. Just
the
like
rest.
everything else.
I don't go into public much.
Me neither.
I don't think the stores
Me
around
neither.
here would carry something like that anyway.
Yeah. Because those things
No.
don't last too terribly long. They're good for managing the blip, so you don't get the print interruption, but they're not good for
We
saving
have
a print.
a battery backup too,
Yeah.
so we can plug it into the battery backup. Because in the last like 2 months, we've had like 3 interruptions. We've lived here 7 years and that's never happened.
Critters
It's 'cause you
getting
didn't-
into.
Because
And
you
they
didn't have a
think
3D printer.
Well,
Okay, Chris. We got the Cyber Power CP825 AVRL CD Intelligent LCD UPS system.
Shows a lot of letters.
825 VA 450 watts. Does
Where's
that
the
sound
link?
right?
yeah, let me
Yeah,
find it.
okay.
Hold on.
Funny. I can barely use my phone, let alone the internet.
Yeah, so that's like a surge strip with a UPS
computer.
backup built in.
Yep.
Yeah, so that'll get you through like a power blip, but it's not going to let you finish the 8-hour print.
No, that's what the battery backup's for.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're already
What's
we
it?
figured that one out.
What's it?
So has
Sorry.
anybody gone through and had a power blip on their Thunder and resumed that print?
Yes, all the time.
Yeah, it
All
works, it works pretty good. I wouldn't do it on a rotary, but on a 2D flat. I've had good
Rotary, no. Does not work on a rotary.
Yeah.
Ever. Ever.
But I've done some wood engraves, and it's like a circus around here because when we get a brownout, I've got 6 printers and then my laser that I'm running around resuming jobs.
See,
Because
you're
I can.
fortunate. Your printers have the memory built in. His resin printers do not.
Ooh, yeah, I wouldn't want to do that on resin.
They're a different beast. That's what I have
Yeah.
too.
But we're about
That's
to
what you
get
get for that $high printer.
Well, we're about to get him.
We started backwards.
What is it? Creality CR10.
Yeah.
I've got a bunch of those. Well, I only have one right now. No, that's
Yeah.
not a 10. I had a bunch of CR10s. This is an Ender, one of those 5 Pros or something. I don't know what it was.
Yeah. Lightly used, maybe 2 hours of print time.
It's
Brand
a
new.
shelf, man. It's a shelf. But
Just need to ship
yeah,
me some of those. and
I
play
like
with them.
Creality printers.
Mm-hmm. They're good.
Well,
It
it
is-
makes so we can, if we get him that one, then making the jigs for some of the tumblers, and then the pins, the hold down pins. Because if not, my buddy's got one and he's in Wisconsin. It gets a
Yeah.
little tiresome having him make them, send them to us, and fit them, and then tell him which number to reprint.
Yeah.
But he's an engineer, so he wants details and perfection.
Mm-hmm.
So you said the Reality 10's a good one.
Yeah, CR10. The Enders are okay. They used to catch on fire a lot,
Not
but
anymore.
I think they got not anymore. I think they got that fixed.
What ones you got?
Well,
What ones you got about sitting behind you, Chris?
those are 10 logs. They're IDEX style. If Creality could create an IDEX style, I'd probably buy one of those, but they don't seem to care about that. I can do 2 colors at once.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Comes in handy. Or you can print
Not when
2
you're
of the
printing
same
light-
things at
not
once.
not when you're printing camera mounts though.
That's right. I just do dual prints there. So both heads will sit
Oh,
there and
that's
do the
right.
same
So you
thing.
can have both. Oh, nice.
So that's kind of nice.
And when I get rich and famous, I'll get me one.
They're pretty inexpensive unless you go
They're not
resin.
bad, Jim. The resin ones are expensive, but the
Yeah.
FDM.
Well, I just looked at the Creality, and it's a grand.
No,
Well-
the CR10 version, CR10 or Pro version 2 is right around 500-ish.
Oh, I guess that was the first thing I just Creality 3D because I just did a Google on it really fast. It was $9.99. Yeah, $9.99.99.
But, and everybody talks about it, and, I had him modify one
was on
of
the
the
Creality site.
versions, and now
Yeah.
that gives us a flat reference point. So she used it the other day, put a couple of them in there, and she could put the same board in there over and over again and do what she needed to do.
Because I was cutting, he had these boards and I was just cutting a shape out. And for what, 15 of them or something?
Yeah.
And I was able to just slide it in, hit go, slide it in, hit go.
Nice.
We had him put flat sides on it. I mean, we had it very specifically made for what we did.
That was one that I was talking about. The one I did.
Yeah, that's the big boy.
Yeah.
Oh, that way it's a grand.
You don't need that one. That's a very large volume printer. It'll print big stuff.
Oh,
I bet they sell a lot of those so they can do helmets in one piece.
Yeah. The
Our son will
Mandalorian
be,
helmet.
Because cosplays, there's a huge market for that kind of stuff.
Yep.
his resin printer can do the Mandalorian helmet in one shot.
Yeah,
It's
they
that-
got the ones bigger than mine that came out after I got mine.
That's
I'm
nuts.
jealous.
Yeah, $300 of resin, and you got yourself a nice Mandalorian helmet.
Yeah, $300. I don't know if it's that much.
Some of that stuff that's been my barrier to entry on those is the cost of the consumables.
It is more expensive than FDM
Yeah.
for sure, but you can,
Yeah.
when you hollow stuff out, and it's not as bad as you think. You can reuse the resin. You just have to filter it when you put it back in your bottle, and it's a lot more hassle for sure.
Yeah.
Expense wise, it is more expensive, but not so much more expensive that it's ridiculous.
He's actually been having really good luck with one of the inexpensive resins.
Yeah, sometimes they're better. Yeah, which one?
That Rich Opto.
Yep, I use that one all the time.
He's been, and that's only, I mean, what are we getting
I
it
love that
for?
resin.
It was just on sale for like $15 or $5 off when you bought one or more. But about $20 a bottle.
Somebody's phone's going off. Yeah.
Sorry,
It
I forgot I
highlights.
had I forgot my speaker was still on.
No worries. Yeah.
Yeah, we went down a rabbit hole there, didn't we?
The opto
it
resins
always do.
are nice and clear. They look good. You can mix them together too, Tommy. So if you want, like, I had a blue and a red, and I wanted a purple, so I just poured them together and made purple. It was great.
See, Thunder just needs to get into 3D printers because this discussion happens a lot anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they kind
I
of
think
go
we
hand
better
in
stick
hand
to
with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of vertical markets you could jump into, but
Yep.
if you stick to what you know and stay at it and keep innovating on that plane, though, there may be something to be said for that too. So,
Yeah.
No, I agree.
look, Grants are here. He always calls in on a different line than his thing, and
Aubrey's also
Aubrey
here, too.
is also here. So yeah, we've with the exception of a few of them, we got
Yeah, where's
we
Loco?
got somebody from Loco said he'd try to make it, but we told him it wasn't mandatory this time.
This time.
So
Between that and Travis has been MIA for about 3 weeks.
yeah, I imagine he's pretty busy.
He's
So,
slammed. I talked to
Chris,
him
is
the
there
other
anything
night.
else that we need to hit that is noteworthy that that you can think of that's just come up?
No, but I do have a Nova 51 100 that's ready to go if anybody's interested in a refurbished one.
Yeah, Grant's on here. Let's ask Grant about that. How do the refurb things work? This is uncharted waters here. Should we just have an auction on here or raffle it?
No, we've got pricing.
I built $1.
Fine. No,
Jim bids $1. You're getting muted.
Yeah, Jim, it's $1. It's only 10 grand in shipping though.
well, and $5 per bid. I'll give you my Venmo.
I'm kind of glad we took care of ours before that.
Yeah.
Or at least started the process.
Yeah.
So
So Chris, when I'm going to make the assumption that with these refurbs, they come with everything, y'all cover the warranty, and Brian, help me out here, but you're also fixing whatever broke and then making sure that everything's aligned just like it was from the factory, it works and everything, right?
Yeah, we'll give them a little test run. I basically do the pulse test in like the four corners. I'm not going to run like a full job on them, but what happens most time is a mechanical damage to the surface, so the lid part, from these shipping depots ignoring the signage and saying, "Hey, I'm just going to throw this, 1,000-pound crate over here in the corner," and all of a sudden it collapses in. So it's mechanical, a little bit of visual, scuffing of the paint, and then we replace those parts, and then everything else is still in good shape. Check that out, and then accessories and stuff were just sitting there off to the left of the machines. But yeah, I checked that the tube is still, not cracked, that kind of stuff. But they're in good shape. It's just visually damaged. So it's a
it's like
very good
scratch a dent.
deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Done.
we're replacing those parts. Now there's going to be a little bit of scuffing in corners and stuff like that that may still be visual, but the parts that show major damage are being replaced. And so it's going to look like new and run like new, but at a very good deal. Just bring a
So
trailer.
the gold card thing, are you gonna have to redo the gold cards or?
We can spot
Usually
check, but
not.
nothing with the drive components and all that. I mean, all that stuff has been fine. It's all in good shape. It's literally just damage to the
Cosmetic.
structure on the top. Yeah.
Yeah. If it gets to the point where the gantry's bent and the pulleys are warped and the belts are popped and things like that, it might just go in the
Yeah.
trash pile.
Yeah. I done
We're
scrap
not gonna.
one.
It's not gonna be like a rebuild title where they cut the whole damn car in half and weld two of them together. It ain't gonna be like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Parts cars.
doesn't
I got center
happen.
blocks. But no, yeah, it's all, they're pretty good shape. I scrapped one because it took a decent amount of damage and had some serious visual damage around the whole machine that we went ahead to scrap that one. Could have been fixed, sure. I didn't want to
Yeah.
spend
Even our junk
days.
has standards.
Yeah. The main thing, the exhaust ports are welded in, and that took some damage because when they shipped it, they actually took it out of the crate and shipped it. So you can imagine how they handle stuff that's in the crates. Imagine how they handle something out
They
of a
took
crate.
it out of the crate.
Yes. Yes. This thing was
moron.
on 4 casters and 2 broken legs, and we made a decision to scrap it. But you know, it's got some usable parts and electronics and things like that. But that one went to the bin. But yeah,
Yep.
they're in good shape. I mean, shoot, the one that's in my garage, I'd love to refurbish it and just leave it there because it's a good looking machine. I forget how clean these things are when they're uncrated.
Mm-hmm.
My current one, so it's a good looking machine.
Yep.
Oh, I have zero doubts.
Oh yeah,
I am that confident in the product. I am that confident in y'all's skills. That there is no doubt in my mind. And I know it's an email away if there
Yep.
is a problem when we get it back.
yep, that's
And a
right.
short drive.
Short drive. You'll know where I live.
Yeah.
You can go swap that 51 for his in the middle of the night, and he'll never know. Just
Yeah.
snag one of his garage door openers on the way out
Yeah.
the first time.
And we really did. We did the measurements, and a 3580 is all that we can fit. Grant wants to see photos as we've double stacked the chillers to make room. I'm gonna have to make something so that the chillers can sit on top of each other.
Okay.
Just make an H block and
Yeah,
just make sure you
there's
leave a few inches on either side of it so it can breathe. Or heck,
yeah,
just
there's
use black.
no
Use
room.
use black pipe. Just build you a stand out of black pipe and lay a board on there and sit the other one on top of it.
Yeah.
Simple, and it gives it plenty of air movement all the way around it. And that way you can slide the bottom one out easily.
You say that, but
But then everybody will get to see what a 51 and a 35, how it fits
side by
in
side.
a 16-foot wide building.
Yeah,
hmm
they'll look good.
It'll look a
Yep.
lot better than this other brand that's sitting next to it currently.
Until
Oh,
y'all tell me I have to get into one of the side panels to look at some light. That's not
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's when you lower the legs and just it's on the wheels. Just wheel it
Yeah.
out and then
What do you mean lower the leg or
That's
the
raise the
legs?
legs.
We never did anything to the
It's
legs.
still sitting on casters and it doesn't
Well,
move.
then there's no reason to have to worry about getting. You just roll it out and look at it and roll it back
yeah.
in.
Thunder Tetris. Chris is a master at that game.
Oh God.
Was the 35, does it have a pass through?
Yes,
Mhm.
front and rear.
Mhm.
I
They
thought
all
it
do.
did, but I
But
figured I'd
he's worried
ask.
about a pass through, but he doesn't have room. So what this doesn't make
Well, the
sense.
front
He has
the
to roll
front
it out.
pass through is great for if you're used to running 4-foot wide sheets on a 51. You can take those 4-foot wide sheets and turn them sideways on the 35. If they're not 4-foot wide again, they're 35, 36 or whatever wide. You've stripped them down. But yeah, the front pass through, I use that all the time. I've never used my rear pass through, but I hang materials out the front, take
I
that
can't
door off.
get to the back,
Yep,
so
I
we
do that all
only
the
use
time.
the front.
What we need to probably discuss is we have the motion components basically for an entire Nova 51, and we'll have the entire motion components for a 63 in the future with the top part. You know where I'm going with this? Bust out
Yes.
the Sawzall and let's have
A
some
dual
fun.
headed a dual headed
Frankenstein.
51 slash
No, not dual head.
63. Well, no,
Desktop
running two
style.
A,
heads.
a
Oh,
convertible.
desktop. A
A
Yeah,
desktop.
bottomless one.
yeah, it's a Sawzall version.
Yeah,
Do that.
you can. You just can't sell it because then you get sued by
It's me modifying it.
another laser company.
That
What
way
you
then
could actually do is you could create a gantry so that you could drive a car underneath of it. That way you could just put the laser over top
Put
top of a car,
put
and
the
that way you could just start
dude.
lasering the top of cars.
Put the casters on the bottom of the top section, and then you could just roll that sucker around on the floor. Get a tube extension. You could do wood floors. You could engrave wood floors, and if you put casters on there that actually have a stepper on there, you could have it travel on an
Oh,
axis as it goes
Yeah,
across
you could
and
even
do
do
wide
intricate
areas.
designs. You could even do intricate designs like how they have those ones that those lawn mowers that just bump into stuff and they mow your yard off of
oh, like a
GPS.
Roomba.
Yeah, Roomba. You could set that up on a Roomba type scenario and just do all kinds of intricate designs all over a
Yeah.
floor.
Well, they've got a router hanging off of a string, and it's a
They do.
CNC.
Oh yeah,
So
that thing's cool. It's called what, the Goliath or something.
something
That
like
thing's
that.
wicked
And
cool.
have you seen the Gantry CO? Have you seen the Galvo Gantry laser? The
Yep.
Galvo Gantry fiber?
Galvo Gantry? Wait, no.
They mounted a Galvo on a Gantry.
What?
So it's like
It's an XY axis too, isn't it? It moves in both
yes,
directions.
Wow.
XY.
Yeah. It
That
looks
would be
painfully
wild.
slow though.
It sounds a little redonkulous, actually, from a practical
When is Thunder
standpoint.
making
But
one? I want one.
I hope we don't. Can you imagine maintaining that thing?
Supporting it. Oof.
Well, see, the Galvo one,
Yeah,
then you
right.
could do the top of cars.
You
You could do
could.
cars and hoods, and you could just drive, have a drive-in.
I don't know why you would want to on a car though. You're just asking for
Why
everywhere you
not?
laser to rust.
Why
just clear
not?
coat it.
Yeah, you just clear coat it
I guess.
afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the way
Get
how
get a
Travis
30
does
gallon
stuff.
sprayer and mount it to the front of the machine where the pass through is, and as you drive under it, it'll spray the clear coat
I
on
mean,
as you will go out the other side.
we all know how crazy things Travis comes up with. I'm sure he could have a drive-through right near in his shop where his vinyl bays are at, and he could just have cars driving through up there and doing all kinds of
Wouldn't it be
Alaska
cool if you could
mooses.
drive through a vinyl wrap? Wouldn't that be cool
That
if it was
would
like
be
a car
cool.
wash, like you design your car on a touch screen and pull in, and it's like a condom goes over your car, and then the dryers go, bzzz, then you drive out, and there's
I
a
can
That's
guy
just
there
see,
with a
Jetsons
knife to
stuff,
cut the
man.
windows out, telling you to have a good day.
or I can just see this, Travis, herding the moose up there into stalls, and then just doing their antlers, and we'd have a bunch of moose walk
Dude,
around with a
he
bunch of
could
weird
UV
antlers.
print. Do you think it's
That's
illegal to
fun.
UV print on wildlife? He could like advertise. Okay, let's go talk about lasers again.
That's animal
So-
harassment.
someone seems to have gone askew.
So
It was
Loco was
probably
going to
me.
work on some photos. Did he send any photos back to anybody?
Oh, he did one for me, and I didn't gonna touch it yet. We was playing with
Yeah.
a couple things, and then I
we
haven't
asked him to do some
I
other
sent back.
more specific things too, so we might have gotten him off task a little bit.
Now,
Yeah,
before we jump too far out of this rabbit hole of these weird machines, have y'all seen the router that you hold in your hand and it's got the visual like?
Yeah, I haven't got to play
Yeah.
with it yet.
That seems painful. I have zero desire to be that close to the router. The noise.
Right.
You're doing this the whole time pulling. I mean, some of those jobs are too long for that, but
yeah.
they've also been doing kind of lasers that way with those little kind of handheld portable ones. You got to wonder if they'll ever do, instead of having the Galvo on a Gantry XY system, could you be the XY for the laser? But again, painfully slow.
Actually, I
some of
want
that.
one of those stripping lasers that help
Well,
me in my
if you would
shop.
combine,
Yeah.
yeah, those are neat. If
For
you
the
had
rust.
some machine vision combined with a handheld system, you could use the machine vision and registration marks or
Well, and
points.
that's what the router does. It's
Yeah.
they use this tape that's got like domino looking marks all over it,
Yep.
and they lay that out and it kind of maps
It's
everything
just
out, and then they
encoders,
go
yeah,
back.
encoder strips, basically.
Yeah,
It's using
exactly.
visual. But God, it's got to be so painful to sit there and do
Oh,
that
yeah.
the whole time because you've got to move slow. I mean, that vision system has to be able to register, so you're moving slow. And I can imagine with the dust, but the noise for me. And if you've ever hand routed something, it's
Yep.
not my fun.
And
Plus,
even with
boop,
that
boop.
router, you still have to follow like the screen and look at the wood. I don't.
Yeah,
Pain
it
in
was
the
like a
ass.
$3,000 toy.
Yeah, not worth
But
it.
with the laser, you don't have that side load. So I mean, they got those little handheld ones that people can
The
plop
woodpeckers,
down on some. Yeah, the laser peckers. But if
whatever
you could
they're
do that
called.
same thing with the laser,
Jim, that'll get rust off the laser pecker. You'll just have to run it for like 8 hours.
I just
To
no.
clean a
I got this
hinge.
cabinet job that I'm doing. I'm stripping 53 cabinet doors that's got 8-9 mil layers of paint on it.
Oh.
And if I could have a
What kind
laser just to run over top of these.
You don't have a
Throw it in
sandblaster?
thunder.
No, these are I can't really sandblast.
probably
on
lead
these
paint.
ones. No, it's not lead. Basically, though, the first set was bad. Then I got to the second set of doors, and I don't know what she was doing, but I found out that she had done a heavy coat of white paint underneath the gray paint that I wasn't expecting. And I actually started looking at them going, why does this look thicker? So I started scraping it. The paint is so thick that I actually took a picture of where the wood versus the paint's at, and you can actually
Oh
see how
man,
thick the paint is.
Wow.
What about a planer?
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, just gun my blades all to hell.
A handheld planer though might do.
Yeah,
the
but these
job.
are all raised panel doors. I can't.
Oh, that won't work.
These are that's what's bad. It's a raised panel
Well.
doors, and then where she got the paint, she like jammed the paint in the
Oh,
grooves
no.
in the stiles and the rails, and I'm
Yep.
trying to pick all that paint out.
And she wants it back original? Back
Oh
down
no,
to the
these are
wood?
the new homeowners. I know I'm stripping her back to original wood because I'm not going to put my finish back over top of something that is that bad. So I'm doing a complete strip back to manufacturer.
Wouldn't it be better just to build them some new doors?
yeah, they have websites will sell you cabinet fronts.
Basically, somewhat, but some of these are custom and they like them. And what I'm running into is I've got 4 or 5 doors now that's got lead stained glass in them that I've got to strip.
Oh yeah,
And the
and I
glass
get
is
it.
and the glass is
You
scaring
know,
me.
you take your cabinets somewhere to get them stripped, and they're like, "Why don't you just do some new ones?" They probably wouldn't like that very much.
Well, no, they wanted to do new ones until
Yep.
they found out the cost of the brand new granite countertop that the
Oh,
lady
yeah.
had put in there, and it's a U-shaped countertop, and the countertop's probably as much, if not more, than what the cabinets are.
Gotcha. So back to lasers for a minute. Does anybody have any laser questions?
Yeah, I'm sorry to hijack that.
No, you're
Kathy,
good.
you showed up. Kathy, you haven't said nothing.
So
She
I
doesn't have
widened
to say
my
anything.
door
I'm
my
lurking.
office and got my laser into the office
Did you?
finally.
Nice.
So we went to a 36-inch door. Still no door in it. It's just an open hole right now. But
Yeah.
the laser's moved, so I can actually start getting some work done.
Yeah, that's the important part, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's good. I bet that was a a load off getting
It
that.
was, especially when a friend said he could do it for me, so I didn't even have to pay
Yeah.
for
Nice.
it. Yeah.
Nice. So
Well, not
that's
even a
good.
case of beer.
He doesn't drink, so Dr.
Wow.
Pepper it is.
Yep. So
Yeah, it's getting scary. Speaking of soda, my wife went to the grocery store the other day, and the whole entire soda aisle in 2 grocery stores was empty. And I'm going, what is going on? Don't take my Coke away from me.
Buy a soda stream quick.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's bad
I
advice.
drink a 12 pack of Coke probably every 2 days. It's about what I go through.
Like,
I go through a lot of
I don't
soda.
drink seltzer water anymore. We stopped drinking sugary sodas years ago, and it's been great.
yeah, I drink Monsters, and on occasion I'll have a Dr. Pepper or some other soda.
Yeah.
I don't drink much water though, so my next feat is going to be replacing Monsters with water. So, but I got to take it one step
I
at a
get
time.
these at Walmart. They're just seltzer water, lightly flavored, no sugar, no additives, nothing in them, no calories. And once you get used to them, they're wonderful. They've got
Also,
quite a bit of flavor in them for a seltzer water. If you want to
been
make the
losing-
switch, I'd suggest it.
I've been losing weight.
Sam's
My wife
Club,
keeps
not
going,
Walmart. Sam's Club.
well, if you drop off the soda, you could probably lose the rest that you're wanting to lose. And I'm like, yeah, but nobody would live. Take my Coke
Right?
away from me.
Yeah.
It would not
Right?
be good for everybody.
Dude, that's how it was around here for a while. Let me tell you, it was not pretty.
I think Grant's going to give us a demo.
Hey,
Wow.
He's at the machine. That can only mean one thing.
camera's moving. Oh, now we're looking Mark.
Yeah, he's going to give us a demo of the
Yeah,
ceiling.
he's looking for the end
Oh,
button.
it's a teaser. It's a teaser. Wood, Grant,
It's a
Yeah,
puzzle.
ceiling tiles.
the puzzle.
Hey, you ought to
I
start
figure out how to
engraving
turn
the
this thing
ceiling
around.
tiles in there. That's what you should do. Yep,
Yeah.
he's
The
done with
ceiling
those.
tiles?
Yeah, engrave the ceiling tiles.
Can't figure out how to switch this thing around.
So is that a 3D printed Rubik's?
no, it's just
Chris?
standard.
Oh,
It's a $7 Amazon special.
I
It
remember
Are you
works
in
pretty
the?
smooth.
He's cutting a puzzle. Cool.
that's one thing that I like to do is do a puzzle. I've not done a puzzle yet.
I haven't either.
It takes forever.
Does it?
There's a couple of generators out there to make those,
Mhm.
to do the puzzle pieces. You can kind of customize it. One of my buddies in I forget where he's at, Wisconsin, I think. He's got a UV printer, a Logo Jet, and he's printing on acrylic, just printing the dog's picture or Uncle Joe or whatever they want and cutting them into puzzles. So that's,
Yeah, I've been wanting to do that.
I guess iSub would be pretty much the same way. So, but see, I'll go all kinds of places and go, ooh, that would be neat to engrave on, whether it's a cutting board or a neat piece of wood or whatever it is. And I'll look, even metal stuff. I'm in the hardware store, a neat looking hinge or something like that, or an axe. Ooh, that'll be neat to engrave. And I used to pick up a few things and get them and go, okay, but I never engrave anything. I don't ever have time to do any of that. So
You got to make the
I quit.
time, Grant. Hey, that looks
Yeah.
cool, Grant. Nice. Those are your
That's
standard
Practicing.
that's all.
practicing.
Yeah.
I like that one. What is that?
Stranger Things?
Nice.
Lacasio did this one.
Came out well. Ooh. What was that? What machine?
Wow.
That was on his 51-100.
Nice. That looks great.
He's got a 63 130 now, right? And he's working on a whole collection of how to do photos on a 130 machine, because we have that discussion quite a bit
Yeah.
about the ionization threshold and stuff, and how you really gotta.
Wow.
Oh yeah, is that 3D relief?
I've
Yeah.
tried that pattern and can't get it to come out that nice.
I do 300 millimeters a second, and threshold, I believe, 0 to 99%.
0 to 99.
Yeah.
That hot. And then what machine was that on?
35-100.
Oh, same as mine. Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What kind of wood? Plywood?
What'd you say? Sorry.
What kind of wood did you use?
That is some hardwood. I'm
Hardwood.
not for
What
sure what it
what
is. Thunder Laser China sent it to me. Sorry, I'm talking to
with
Rhonda too.
with
You're
his
good.
phone laying like that and him looking down at it, he's like, "What'd you say, fool?" It looked like that's what he.
Very aggressive Grant.
So anyway, all
No,
right. Well, if anybody, yeah,
I haven't dug out a
Hey,
tray 3D
Sorry,
release
y'all.
yet.
You're good.
posted a couple links for you guys. We were talking about power earlier. We use Surgex a lot for EV equipment and displays and stuff. They make a real good product. They actually came into our office compared to like Middle Atlantic or anything.
Yeah.
Insides of a Middle Atlantic, like supposed power distribution little rack mount is like 2 plugs with a couple capacitors
yeah.
wired in with them compared to these are a way better product, but they cost a little more. And then if you're looking for UPS besides um what's the big brand, Trip Light by Eaton,
Mm-hmm.
is a little bit better pricing and they make a good quality product too. I put the link
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, I've always heard Trip Light's good stuff. I've had a couple of like inverters and stuff like that, and they always seem to be. And I think they have some test equipment too, and things like that. So
Yeah.
They have power conditioners and stuff like that you can put in your system. Rack mount, yes, is standalone.
so
9 minutes, Brian.
9 minutes. Yeah, but we're getting somewhere on the webinar thing, reviving it. Breathing some new and different life into it. I think that's going to be good, getting some people. So stay tuned. I may even, I don't know. I had a form at one time where somebody could leave recommendations, but I think I might just make a sign up for the possible people that may want to come and join. I doubt I'd ever be able to get Oz or any of those guys from Lightburn in here. They're too busy, but maybe one of these days.
Or maybe after the
So,
end of this month, it won't be as busy.
oh yeah, it will. That's when
Probably
all
even busier.
yeah.
It's when everything
Yeah.
starts breaking because people are trying shit that they haven't tried yet.
And I thought, they did in one of the, I think it was the unofficial Lightburn Galvo group. Somebody did a poll on who's got EasyCAD 2 and who's got EasyCAD 3, and I thought it would be a little more 50-50, but it was, way more EasyCAD 2 people, like what 80-20 or something like that.
Really? I wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know, because I see a lot of people going to the EasyCAD 3, switching out, upgrading, so I'm sure they'll be working on that next, but that obstacle of having a whole new language to reverse engineer is probably a little bit of a feat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got another little quick topic if you're done.
Go for it.
Who in here has used flood fill on your fill layer?
Flood fill?
Yeah,
I
flood
did
fill.
on my
Yeah,
G-code machine, but not on one of these big heavy gantry lasers.
I've
Who's
used
got
it.
who's got Lightburn pulled up?
Not
I do.
me.
Put two shapes. It can be a circle and inside of a square on your fill layer. Same layer. I don't care what speed power they look like. You would expect, say, the circle inside of a square, that the circle part doesn't engrave, right?
Yep.
Turn flood fill on, see what it looks like.
In the preview?
Yeah, in the preview. Yeah.
And zoom into it. Right?
Yeah, what you should see is if it's the same way as what I've got in my version, it went from a square with a circle cut out in the middle to now it's a square with a circle that's also engraving inside of the square. So where the circle is, it double engraves when you turn flood fill on. I didn't know if I haven't used flood fill. I don't use it. I have no reason to use it, but I was writing an article the other day and I turned it on. I was like, whoa, that's not what I expected. And based off of what Lightburn has on their description, it didn't match.
Oh,
Because
interesting.
Where do you get the flood fill at?
it's in the advanced tab.
Advanced tab.
There you go. So basically, instead of it being the binary where it turns on and off,
Oh,
it
down
just
there.
double engraved like they were on separate layers. Now, Brian, it's going to probably do it on yours. Nah, you don't have to zoom in.
Yeah, it's
What?
didn't do it on mine.
It didn't do it on mine either.
We've got the same version, though.
Who?
Me and
Me and you?
you.
I've
Yeah,
got the latest beta from like 3 days ago. I think it's like 3 days ago.
I don't have that. So can you pull up that article that I wrote about the fill layer settings? Because that's what triggered this.
Yeah,
And,
best practices. Hang on.
and see, I was doing a remote session with the user months ago, and I had the screenshot. I was like, what is going on with his preview screen? It didn't make sense. All the way at the bottom, I think. Keep going. Keep going. That.
Well,
So the
this
only difference between those two is I turned flood fill on. Turned it
is
off.
it because no, they're all technically shapes generated by the shape creation tools, even if it's text. So, what about if you well, see, mine didn't do it. I didn't convert mine to paths. So,
I didn't convert to paths either. They're on the same layer. Literally, the only
yeah,
difference was turning flood fill on.
that's weird. And
And
that's
like,
happened not only on yours, it was on someone else's. You've
yeah,
seen
I'll
this
see if I can
behavior
find
in,
the screenshot.
huh?
Yep. Yeah, I got a screenshot. And it
Oh, that's
was
wild.
dated January 31st.
Okay,
And I thought it was just a
that's
glitch or something going on, but even in his, inside of Lightburn, when you turn on, instead of just doing the vector art, you can turn it on where it'll do the fills for you too.
yeah,
Under,
the field rendering. I'll turn
yeah,
that on.
in his field rendering, it showed it proper. When we did the preview in Lightburn, it showed it messed up.
Does it matter what you draw first? I mean, A, B, or whatever.
Oh,
It shouldn't.
It shouldn't. I mean, it should just be binary on or off. As soon as it hits one, the black edge of one to the black edge of the other, it should change states.
Yeah.
like
So let me
changing
go
the
back.
order, like front to back. Would that
Yeah.
change it?
Flood
Shouldn't.
fill off.
I know it shouldn't, but
Flood fill. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Flood fill on. Advanced flood fill on. Was there another setting that may have been on in conjunction with that?
No, that was the only one. I was going through one by one.
Oh, look,
Ding, ding.
whoa,
right there.
what?
Okay.
That's weird.
So that's a very unexpected result, right? Like you
Yeah.
wouldn't think it would do that, but it's double engraving those two shapes.
Yeah, I see it right there. Look.
Yeah.
Yep, it is.
Okay, I'll submit. I'll once I get this uploaded, I'll take this snippet or from this time and send it to Lightburn and let them have a look, or put it in
And
the
that's
beta group or something.
well, I
Yeah,
don't
'cause
think it's the beta because, like I said, this happened in January 31st.
This is in a production environment
Yeah.
machine. Oh yeah, the other one was. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's present in this one too.
Yep.
So
Hmm.
okay. Yeah, good to know. Also, since it's almost time, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording. I think we're good.